our guests are here, so we got a break.
Oh.
Who's coming in, Jimmy? You saw the documentary.
I liked it very much.
Patrick Kennedy.
Yes.
And James Thompson.
From
Chris
James Thompson. Yes.
I think Chris did the documentary, but Patrick was the detective that actually, after Dahmer was arrested, he actually sat with Dahmer and I believe got the confession and really, really spoke to him extensively.
Okay.
Before he was, known by everyone. So he actually, it's very, very interesting to hear him talk.
Right.
You could just tell who the cop is by the name.
Yeah.
Detective Patrick Kennedy.
Yeah.
Nice
He sounds
Irish
like a
guy.
cop, right? Who's in
Nice
there?
Irish cop.
Who got the confession? Pat Kennedy.
Pat Kennedy did.
Pat did.
Hey, Kennedy got it again.
Yeah.
Of
yeah.
course.
Pat Kennedy don't fuck around. Yeah, but it was really, really interesting to hear him discuss this, relationship with Dahmer.
Yeah.
We'll talk to them next. Might have run out of time for today because we have a Scott and Todd song parody we were going to do today. And we'll just mention it. Dan Marino has a love child.
What?
Cool.
What?
Yeah. Dan
Love
Marino has a
child?
Love child.
Misunderstood?
Yes. Something like
Afraid?
that.
Ashamed? Misunderstood?
Yes.
Something like that?
That type of love child.
You're actually going with a thematic song intro for this segment.
What's the theme?
Psycho Killer.
Ah. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You look like a cop. Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, there's no question who the cop is.
We
of
can
these
figure
guys.
out which one is the cop and which one is the documentary filmmaker.
Retired.
Holy
Retired detective,
Not
yes.
retired.
Thank you for your service.
Yes.
He still carries a gun.
Hi, guys.
Indeed.
Just these python.
Wow, look at that,
Gentlemen.
Look at that mustache.
Please.
I know that.
How long
is a
have you
good
had the
one.
mustache?
59 years.
Yeah, you're one of those guys, right? You're one of those guys who refuses to shave it.
I've shaved it a couple times when my wife. Are we on the air?
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, we are.
Isn't that amazing? We just start the show
Yeah,
like
we'll do
I
all the
shaved
other
it
stuff in a
few times
minute.
When my wife wanted to feel like she was with somebody else.
that. Oh, there you go.
He's going to talk
Mostly
shit about
I
his
put it-
wife, and he had to ask you guys, and then he's going to do it anyway.
Yeah, we're on the air. Wait a minute. That would fit in great also during the gritty 70s and 80s.
Right.
Something like that, right?
Very impressive.
Yes.
That's a big mustache. That might be the
That's
biggest
great, man.
mustache
Hey,
I've
I like
ever
it.
the time
seen.
I saw the movie
Yeah.
was down at South by Southwest. I didn't watch it. And
Right.
It was on like a 50-foot screen.
Oh, wow.
So
That's a
you know
lot.
what it's like to hear yourself or to
Yeah.
see yourself.
Yeah, we
So
love
all of
it.
a sudden I saw
We love our
like
voices.
this 50-foot mustache. I thought,
Yeah, that's a
I'm
lot
gonna go
of...
home and trim my mustache. I thought,
Nah.
Nah, it's a good look for you.
It works. It
You're
works.
Big giant of a guy, too. Fuck. How
Yeah.
tall are you?
I used to be 6'7.5", but after my knee operation, I think I'm only 6'7".
Oh, wow.
Lost a little bit.
You don't realize that when you're
Bad
watching a
knees coming
guy,
out of Milwaukee.
Oh, Jesus. No, you're right.
sitting there being interviewed. Like I watched the documentary. It's like you don't realize like you're a big imposing
Yeah.
figure.
Boy, you must have had a ball before these cameras and everything that law enforcement has to deal with now. Oh, boy, I bet you
Wait.
could tell a spin a yarn or two.
We know some of the old school guys.
Oh,
So,
I love
so
talking
you don't
to
have
old
to say
school.
anything. We know. We
Old
know
school
you've seen some
detectives.
stuff.
Evil.
Yeah.
They're evil.
Some of the stuff that might have been not quite on the books. You learn that from the streets. Yeah, sometimes, you know what? You don't even have to take the perp back to the station house. You can just deal with them. A little street justice. A little wood shampoo, they call it, right? Yeah.
Well, you get more with honey than vinegar, but yeah,
All
a lot
right.
of times you let the guy go because they were useful to you later on.
There you go. Exactly. God, I love the old school guys.
God, they had to play it. They knew how to play in the streets,
yeah.
huh? Wow.
How did you stumble onto becoming a part of the Dahmer case? Like you were just a regular working detective.
Right. The way they run it in Milwaukee is they just have the homicide units, and the next stiff up that you get it. So I walked in. I was third shift. I walked in that morning.
Jeez.
Is that what they call it? The next stiff up?
Well, the
Next
we used
step
to
up.
have a saying in Milwaukee that our day begins when yours ends. I know it's blue humor.
gallows
That's very
humor.
funny to the-
I can
I
see
love
that on
the
a
gallows
T-shirt.
humor.
You could sell some T-shirts with that.
Yeah.
Nice.
But in
Oh, that's
Milwaukee,
great.
it was it's just the next unit that was up. And
Right.
my unit was up. I just walked in, and before I could even get to my desk, about 10 to 12 at midnight, the lieutenant called me over and said, I got a couple excited cops on the phone that said they got a head in the refrigerator.
Wow.
And he didn't even really believe it. This guy was Lieutenant Roosevelt Harrell. He was the highest-ranking black officer on the department at the time. Milwaukee had gone through a lot of racial problems with the police department. Totally an excellent guy, though. And he said, it sounds like bullshit to me, Pat, but go check it out. So on the way up there, I was with this young Polish kid from the South Side, Mike Dubas, and we were making jokes. And I was like, lose our head over this investigation. And it was, it just seemed so weird.
Had you met Dahmer at this point yet, or no?
No, never met him before.
And I want to ask, just because you look like a young guy, how young were you back then?
20 years ago, I was 38 years old.
Wow.
So I was young. I was a lot younger.
Yeah.
I'll be 59 next month.
So you were on the job for a while by the time
Oh,
you're
yeah.
38, though, yeah.
I walked the beat for several years and hacked the squad for about 9 years.
Saving the world, full of piss and vinegar.
Well, I was married with 3 kids. I was trying to raise a family.
Oh, okay. Or that.
And it was a solid job with benefits.
All right, or that, whatever.
Health insurance,
I get you.
stability.
Did you see Q&A with Nick Nolte?
I did.
Oh, I feel like I'm sitting next to Mike Brennan. It makes me so happy. Big guy with a mustache, old school.
So you're making the jokes on the way over. We know you cops like to make jokes because it's,
It is.
lightens up the
Emergency
mood a little
room
bit.
Personnel. The nurses, too, are like that.
Yeah,
When they get
yeah.
to
You
meet
got
them.
to.
But it was a very hot, sticky night. I know it gets hot here, too, but it gets real muggy in Milwaukee, too. And it was one of those nights where it didn't drop below like 85 and 100% humidity. And the foyer of this building is a big glass enclosed foyer. And as soon as you walked in there, you could smell the dead body.
Wow.
And I looked at Mike. I said, "Wow, maybe this ain't going to be bullshit." Because, actually, I took off my coat then because certain fibrous coats, if you're around real dead body, it'll seep into the
It's
clothing.
like Chinese food or something where you smell it when you leave the restaurant.
Jesus.
Was he? Were there other people living in that structure?
Oh yeah, it was a 3-story, 36-unit rectangular
The hell's
building.
with people?
Yeah, that's why I asked. They didn't. What,
Well, actually, several people had complained
About the smell?
over the months about the smell, and to the building super who I talked to, and when he went to talk to Jeffrey Dahmer about it, he had a 55-gallon fish tank, and he told him that he went to Chicago for the weekend, and the power went out on his fish tank, and all his fish died, and he left them around there, and that's what was causing the smell. And he actually showed him the plastic garbage barrel that he was using to emulsify people with the muriatic acid. And the guy said, "Well, just get rid." He said, "That's where I put all the fish." And he said, "Well, just get rid of that."
oh my God.
So, and actually, the night we went in there, very clearly displayed were all kinds of solvents, cleaners, air fresheners. The 57-gallon a tank that he had the 4 bodies in, he had by a window in his bedroom with a fan behind it blowing the.
Wow,
blowing it out.
man, this
So-
is some calculated stuff.
Oh yeah, he said that the smell was always a problem. That was what he said.
Just couldn't get rid of that fucking stench.
But how were you guys tipped off that there were heads in this place at this point?
Well, what had happened is his last victim, he had run out of the Halcyon tablets. And Jeffrey Dahmer was an alcoholic. He was always gassed. And he thought he could drink this guy under the table. And he said they put down a bottle of 151 rum. They were both gassed. And he had offered this guy $150 to come home for oral sex and to watch movies and to take some photographs of him, which he was. Let's not forget that everybody who went to his apartment went there willingly.
Right.
He didn't drag nobody there. He mostly offered them money for sex and photographs. Well, he had taken a couple photographs of this guy in his whitey tighties, and then he wanted to get a bondage shot of him. He got the one handcuff on him, but when he tried to put the other handcuff on it, I talked to the guy. I said it just didn't seem right, and I told him, "No, I don't want to do that." And Jeff's thought to me was that he had ran out of the Halcyon tablet, so he thought he'd get this guy drunk, and once he got him handcuffed, then he could just strangle him.
What's a Halcyon tablet?
Halcyon was a very strong sleeping pill that came out in during the Gulf War. If you remember the first Bush, the good Bush, not Shrub, he actually took it because he couldn't get to sleep during and it was a brand new sleeping tablet, and it was marketed that it was the kind of pill that where you didn't just get drowsy, but you took it and you're out for a while. So
Would he slip it into their drinks?
yes, when he knew he was going to kill somebody, he would crush up 5 to 7 of them and had them in a cup at home.
Man.
So when he brought the guy home, if he knew he was going to kill this guy and keep this guy, the first thing he would do is offer him a drink, and he would pour him a rum and coke.
Holy shit!
And once you drank that,
You're out.
Why did he get
Yeah.
lazy and not have that on hand?
well, he was one of the first guys to do what we call doctor shopping. He was a third shift worker at the chocolate factory, and he went to several different doctors and told them, "I can't sleep at night." And I found this Halcyon. Actually, there was an article in Time magazine about Halcyon in 1991, and that's where he heard about it.
Wow.
So he asked about it, and the article was about Bush taking it. And so he'd ask for it by name, and there were several doctors that gave him pills, but he just ran out of them.
Okay, I got you.
So he brings this guy home. He does not have him pilled up, and he said the guy instinct kicked in and said there's something wrong with him.
Well, he didn't want to. Said he just felt weird about it. So when he wouldn't do it, then he and Jeffrey got into a fight. And during the fight, Dahmer picked up a knife and he ran out the apartment, ran down the hall, ran out into the street, and down the block was a couple Milwaukee coppers on a completely different assignment. So here it is, 11:30 at night, quarter after 11 at night on a hot, muggy night, and this guy pounds on the window. The two cops look at, here's a black male with just whitey-tighty underwears on and handcuffs. And the first thing they thought was, hey, they got on the air and they said, is anybody missing any equipment? Like, it's very embarrassing when a prisoner gets away from you. It ruins your reputation. But when nobody answered, they got out and said, hey, what the fuck's going on? And he said, well, I met this guy, and we were fucking around, and he wanted to take some pictures, and I didn't want to do the bondage, and we got in a fight, and he pulled a knife on me, and I'm out here. And I said, well, do you want to press charges? Let's take him. He goes, no, I really don't want to press charges. I just want this handcuff off. Well, the two coppers got out, but we had Smith & Wesson handcuffs, and Dahmer had a different type.
Because he had different handcuff keys, they had to go back to Dahmer's house.
So the key didn't work.
Oh, God.
So they followed the guy back, knocked on the door. Jeffrey Dahmer opened the door, and he was gassed. And they even said to him, look, we don't care what you freaks are doing in there, but just give us the handcuff key. Well, he kind of fumbled around, and like most cops, they just bogarted their way in. And he kind of fumbled around, so they started looking for the key, but there was no key because he always got the handcuffs back by cutting off their hands.
Oh, my God. Shit.
So,
there ain't no key, Ralph. You got to boot your way out.
Wow. He got them off by cutting off their fucking hands.
So the one officer went into the bedroom and found the top drawer open a little bit, and there was all these Polaroid photographs in there. So he picked up a photograph. He saw the photograph of a dismembered and cut open body.
Wow.
And he told me, he said, the first thing I thought was, where did this guy get these autopsy photographs from? But he said the more I looked at the photograph, the more I realized the room in the photograph was the room that I was standing in.
Oh, God.
That's right.
So he said to his partner in the next room, it was an efficiency apartment, like one main room, a bathroom, and a little bedroom. He said, you better handcuff this guy. And when he said that, all hell broke loose, and there was a big fight. And these were two big, strong Milwaukee cops, one 6'4", about 220, the other about 6'1", and kind of barrel-chested. The taller guy was kind of a nice guy, but the other guy, I wouldn't call him an assaultive officer, but the kind that would respond in kind. And
how big was Dahmer, by the way?
He was a good-sized man. He was 6'1", about 175 pounds. Good-looking guy. The night that I arrested him, I had to take all his clothes off him, so I got to see him buck naked. There wasn't an inch of body fat on the guy. I mean, he was
I hear humans
not
are lean.
a muscular guy, but not unmuscular as well. So, these two officers had a hell of a fight with this guy.
Wow.
When I got there, after they finally got him corralled, and like any place, it's not good to fight with the police. So after they finally got him corralled and handcuffed, and they had him handcuffed the way we used to do it, where you hogtied people, where you would handcuff behind their back and cuff their legs and put them on their stomach and then cuff your legs to your hands. But, we ended up killing everybody like that. They found that people that were big or that were under some kind of drugs, a lot of guys died in that
Suffocated in
position.
some way, shape, or form.
So they changed that. Before that, when I first came on, they taught us to choke people out.
Yeah, the chokehold and choke them out.
Some people never came back. So they went from that to this other one. And now they don't do that anymore. But at the time, that was standard. And if you saw a prisoner like that, you knew that some bad shit had happened.
Yeah.
So when I got there, he was bleeding from the mouth and had a massive rug burn from rolling around on the rug. And these two officers, one was outside the door. His hair was sticking up. His Sam Brown was to the side. He was all disheveled. It was a hot night, so he was dripping with sweat.
Oh, shit.
And I walked up and said, Ralph, what's going on? He goes, go look in the refrigerator.
Oh, wow.
Holy shit.
So then I walked into the apartment, and there was Dahmer on the ground, and he was crying. He was kind of
knew
whining.
it was over, Johnny.
And the other,
once that fridge door fucking suction sound came.
The bigger officer had his knee in him, and I said to him, Ralph, what is going on? He looked the same. His eyes were real big, and he was sweating. He was wiping his face with a hanky. And I said, what's going on? He goes, just look in the refrigerator. So that's when I went and opened up the refrigerator, and once you opened it up, it was an apartment-sized refrigerator. It was empty on the inside, except on the door there was condiments, A1 sauce, Lee and Perrins, mustard and ketchup.
Not much
But in
different
the
than most
middle,
guys.
the only thing that was in the middle of this
Right.
refrigerator in the back was an open box of Arm & Hammer baking soda. And I thought, my mom used to do that to kind of freshen the thing.
Yeah.
And a box containing the head of a black male. And it was freshly severed and fresh, and the eyes and the mouth like that.
Wide
So
open.
when I opened it up, my partner said I backed up to him and screamed like a girl. But
Oh, shit.
I didn't, but I do remember thinking, oh, man, I got to get the fuck out of here. I mean, it was really, I knew I wasn't in danger,
horrible.
but it's so irrational fear to see something like this.
Yes.
And I'd only been working the homicide unit for about a year, so I knew, hey, if you walk out of here, that's the end of your career. But,
Right, yeah.
so that's how it started.
Wait. You said there were
Wow.
two, though. Where was the other one?
The two cops?
No, you said there were two heads, no?
No, in the refrigerator, just one head. Now, we found in a little freezer, we found 7 other frozen heads.
Okay.
And we found 3 skulls.
Right.
So Pat took Dahmer downtown, and then the medical examiner, who we also interviewed for the film, Dr. Jeffrey Jensen, sort of came in with his guys and started taking out all the rest of the evidence, and that's when the size and the scope of the scene actually
Right.
I
came.
left my partner there. Harrell showed. Well, first I said, don't anybody touch anything.
Yeah.
We got a boss down there, and he said, take him downtown, Pat. So my partner actually got the shittier end of the deal. He spent the next 24 hours, discovering penises and heads and
All in the
skulls.
apartment.
All, it was,
Where was all that stuff
it was
in general?
all in there, right?
And
Oh,
Pat,
where?
they're telling
Like,
us
was-
Pat has 5 minutes because these guys have TV.
What?
Wow.
These guys have TV
Are
to
you
promote.
kidding me?
Yes,
Oh, my God, this is
I literally was hoping
fascinating.
you could stay till 10:30. They have
I
TV.
love this stuff.
Okay.
Hey, can we stay?
They're telling us they have TV.
We got it. This is a really big radio show. You should stay right here. I'm telling you
Yeah,
right
but
now,
this-
sir.
The
You want people to see this film, you stay right the fuck where you are.
when you met Dahmer, I have to ask you that.
Yeah.
What was the first? How did you actually? Your meeting with him, with this guy, who I don't think you understood the scope of what a psycho he was at that moment, right?
No, but I mean, I'd never seen. I mean, I'd had your run-of-the-mill murder, and I've had my run-of-the-mill interrogation and confession, but this was different from the beginning because, well, first of all, they beat the snot out of him because you just don't fight with the police. So as we were taking him from the apartment to the paddy wagon, he was already, you could see, dejected, and so I decided I would take a kind of a lighter tact with him, and I shook his hand, called him Pat. I went and got a cup of coffee and cigarettes, and the first thing I said to him was, "So what can you tell me about that in the refrigerator?" And his first statement to me was, "You're not going to let him beat me anymore."
Oh,
And
wow.
I said, "No one's going to deal with you anymore but me." And I had him in that little 9x11 room. And actually, when I told the cop to take the cuffs off, and the cop said, "Pat, you don't want to take the cuffs off this guy because I fought with him and he's no pussy." And I said, I said to him, "If we take the cuffs off, if you promise you behave, I'll get you a coffee and cigarettes and we can relax." And he just shook his head. But the first words he said after they took the cuffs off, the cop said, "I'll be right outside the door, Pat." As soon as he closed the door, he said, "You're not going to let him hit me anymore." I said,
Oh,
"No."
wow. He really didn't want to get hit anymore.
So
huh?
it was the old good guy, bad guy from the beginning. So I decided
Wow.
to be the good guy.
But you knew
Sure.
Pat that taking the cuffs off, because you're a 6'7" guy, so you weren't worried about him.
Yeah, I wasn't really worried about it, but I mean,
Yeah.
But you never know.
I never interrogated a guy with cuffs on. It's just not a good.
He didn't want to fuck up his suit. You know?
comfortable. So.
So you take the cuffs off him and you sit with him.
Yeah, then I introduced myself to him, and I said, "I'm the one who's going to be dealing with you on this." I said, "But before we get started, do you smoke, or would you like a cup of coffee?" And he looked up at me and said, "Yeah, I'd like both." So I went, got one, and came back. And when I asked him about the head in the refrigerator, he said, "I don't feel it's in my best interest to talk about that."
Oh.
So I said, "Well, we don't have to talk about it. We can talk about other things."
How about the Lee and Perrin? Why don't we start there? And we'll work our way up to the head.
No, he was very. He says, "What's going to happen to me if I don't talk to you?" So I kind of explained to him the booking process, and he seemed to understand it because he had been arrested before for lewd and lascivious. And but then he asked me, "Can I get my own cell?" And I knew then that he knew about the bullpen. If you know about any bullpen, it's just a shithole where everybody and their brothers in there. It's disgusting, and he didn't want to go there. So I could pick up on that right away. I said, "No, it's a Friday night, and the bullpen is
There you
packed."
go.
I said, "There's no way you're going to get a single cell."
Little leverage.
I said, "If you stay here with me, we could talk about," and we did talk about things for about 3.5 hours before he crapped out to me. So
What stuff did you talk about that had nothing
Well,
to
I
do with?
picked up that he was an alcoholic, and
Right.
I myself, like most coppers, suffer from old John Barleycorn, and I had my own battles with it. So I was knowledgeable about AA. I kind of 12-stepped him, but we talked for about an hour about religion. He grew up in a very strong Lutheran religious family. We talked about homosexuality. We talked about whether there was a God or not. He loved his family, especially his grandmother. So for about 3.5, and to tell you the truth, if you talk to most homicide detectives, the typical homicide confession takes about 3.5 hours before they start to get into that defeated position and start to tell you what happened. So it was right about that. But every time, when he finally did, he said, if I tell you, you'll be famous. I said, oh, come on, man. I've seen a bunch of shit before. This ain't going to be anything. And then he said, but if I do tell you, you'll hate me and you won't want to talk to me anymore. I said, no, I'll stick with you. So he goes, well, if I am going to tell you, I'm going to start at the beginning. And he told me about his first homicide back in Bath, Ohio, when he was 18, 13 years ago.
Right.
So I put my pen down. I'm listening to him. And then he talked about going to the Army in Ohio and getting kicked out and then moving here to Grandma's, where he started killing again. And when he got to about his second or third, I said, well, take a break. I went to get some more coffee. And the lieutenant came out to me and said, is he talking? I said, well, yeah, he's talking, but I said, I don't think he's going to help us. I said, he's told me he's killed like 5 or 6 people, and he hasn't even told me about the guy in the refrigerator yet. I said, I think he's a bullshitter. And he goes, no, your partner called. They found 11 heads. And they got penises. So I went back in. I took my pen out. I was okay, let's start over again. Let's start from the beginning.
It's important to say when you were talking to him at that point, you just
I
thought
didn't believe
there
it.
was the one head in
thought
his
it was
refrigerator.
bullshit. I'm waiting to find out about this head I saw.
Fuck, that was
He's
what
telling
you
me
were
about
worried
somebody he killed 13 years ago and 2 years ago, and it turned out to be another 4 or 5 before we finally got to the head. But I went back in with a whole new attitude about the interrogation.
No shit.
Wow. And did you find yourself liking him at all? I'm sure it's different to actually talk to somebody than it is to hear about them.
Well, like I said in the movie to Chris, who really got a lot out of me. I'm talking more about it now, but 20 years ago I wouldn't have liked this.
Right.
When you spend 6 weeks with somebody, 10, 12 hours a day, you have breakfast with them, lunch with them. I form. Detectives are trained to build rapport, to form a relationship. But I kind of. He was a pathetic fuck. Okay, he could not. He couldn't make an emotional connection with anybody. I even asked him one time, I said, why didn't you just get a boyfriend? Why did you have to kill everybody? And to me, he was just this really pathetic human being who on the other side had this obsession with this constant pursuit of this hedonistic, pleasurable lifestyle where he lived in an area, all of his money went towards alcohol and the pursuit of pleasure sexually and his drugs. I mean, that was his whole reason for living. So he was and as a lover, the people that we talk, he was a very selfish lover. I mean, he was a giver, not a taker. And
A giver, not a taker? Selfish or selfless?
selfish lover. If you're homosexual and you're selfish,
You're giving.
Okay.
you got it with the hand motion.
You're the train. You're the train, not the tunnel, as they say. Oh, okay.
Dude, I got to ask you, because obviously we're fucking running out of time, but I got to ask you, based on what you just said about, building a rapport and everything, how did you feel when he was killed?
Everybody asks that, and
Yeah.
to tell you the truth, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it, but I felt really shitty about it.
Did ya?
To tell you the truth, I'm a Catholic, and I'm against capital punishment. And I felt sorry for the guy. I mean, he was such a pathetic individual. And like I told Chris in his movie, I felt bad that I felt bad for him. I mean, it made me, I remember thinking,
Right.
what is there about me that connected with this freak
Right.
that I feel so bad
It's going to make you
about
question
it?
yourself.
How did you hear
really-
it? Somebody called you, or you were in the news?
Yeah, I walked into. By that time, I had been day shift. Actually, the Dahmer thing kind of helped my career a little bit. I finally got off the late shift and
Nice.
got to the day shift, and the captain called me over. He was on the phone with the correctional facility when he was murdered. They called right away. And so I walked in. It was the same thing. I walked in. I took my coat off. He goes, "Hey, Kennedy, they killed your boy."
Your boy.
And I said, "What are you talking about?" And I got on the phone with the guy there and told me what happened. So,
Now, how long had it been since you had any contact with him, since the professional aspect of it, the questioning and everything of the
the
trial?
last time I talked to him was when he was sentenced to 956 years in prison, and I shook his hand as he went off to jail.
And that
What'd you
was
say
it.
to him?
And he had requested to talk to me a couple of times, but I didn't really want to anymore after that.
Okay. Yeah.
And what happened was my partner, Dennis Murphy, went up to the correctional institution where he was at for another homicide. You know, people in jail are always saying, we'll give you some information if you can get me out. So he was up there talking to somebody, and he went to visit Jeff. And he told me that Jeff had put on 35 pounds and had gone from a very straight-acting male, gay male, to a stereotypical, almost flamboyant one.
Wow.
And told him that he is requested to get out of segregation because for the 3.5 years he was there, they kept him in a 9x12 windowless cell 23 hours a day. And only 1 hour a day he was put like in a room where it was open to the sky so you could see the fresh air by himself. And he told Dennis, he goes, I'm going crazy here. I can't take it. You know, just to be locked like with no communication. And he even said, I know that when I get put in the general population, they'll kill me. And it was within 3 months that he was put in the general population.
Oh, no one knows
that
that.
he was murdered.
No kidding.
But it really upset you when he was killed. Like,
Well, I don't like to say upset like I'm some kind of a pussy.
No,
I mean,
but
I love this guy.
but you talk about the documentary. It was really interesting.
I was supposed to go to class that night because I was going on to get my graduate degree because I wanted to get out of the police department. I was frying being a homicide detective. And I turned around and went back home and went to my little apartment, just sat there by myself. And I don't know. It was another one of those things where I felt bad about feeling bad.
No shit. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that
No
makes
one
sense.
thinks you're a pussy. You're a 6'7" homicide detective.
there's
No
nothing
one's
worse than a
mistaking you.
6'7" pussy homicide detective. Yeah.
What was your first inkling that this was a massive case, by the way?
Oh, when I saw the head.
Yeah, but I mean, there's
Well,
been other
you have
situations.
no as
But
well.
where you realize, holy fuck, this is going to be an international story. That's what I mean.
No, I really didn't think it would be an international. So
No.
I was surprised the next day when I
It's a
came
good
into
line, by the
work,
way.
and there was literally a media circus
right
outside
outside.
the police. So I knew instinctively that you didn't want to fuck this case up, right? You had to do it right. So yeah, I can. And I was young. I was energetic. It was exciting. It was a good time. When you're in your 30s and you're doing what you've been trying to do. So. I can honestly say for those 6 weeks, I poured everything.
That's a career case right there.
It
Yeah.
was. So I knew it would make or break me.
Did you chase that high afterwards? Like another case that was high profile? What was
No,
what was the
actually-
second?
Oh, no.
What was the second case?
We
that-
found a finger in a garage.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that during this time, anybody that we got reports all the time. There's bones over here, and I mean they're always ribs, rib bones and chicken bones, and but they didn't check it all out.
That was it for you, though. You knew that was going to
the
be
day
it.
that he got sent to jail. The next day, I got put to the late shift, and that night I got another homicide. So I mean, it was a very busy year for us that year, and so I really didn't have time to think about it or process it. I just went back to work.
I'm pardon my interruption. They're telling us you have to go because you have press. It's your guys. I want to properly promote this. I have one more
Absolutely.
question
Should
too.
talk to the guy who made this film, man.
We'll watch the film.
The
That's
film is really good. I'm sure he's,
Right.
it was really, but this is fascinating. You were there. It's called The Jeffrey Dahmer Files. It opens February the 15th. We'll, of course, Twitter it. Select theatrical beginning is at the IFC Center here in New York. Cable video on demand platforms. You can grab it on Comcast, Cox, Cablevision, Time Warner, Satellite TV, DirecTV, iTunes, Xbox, SundanceNow.com. And go to jeffthemovie.com. It's fascinating, and you can tell by listening to this. We literally
It's
had
amazing.
we would have sat here with you until fucking 11 o'clock.
We want to talk, and we want to talk to the
too much.
detective about it. He's telling interesting stories. I want to hear what the fucking f stop of the camera was.
I have one more.
It's really exciting.
I have one question for Pat. There was one particular Patrick, whatever you prefer. There was one thing. A boy escaped Dahmer's apartment. Went to two cops. They didn't know
right.
what was happening. They sent this kid back, and Dahmer murdered him immediately. It was obviously a tremendous mistake. Did you know the cops that happened to?
Yes, and actually, in the middle of the interrogation, when he told me about this one, I said, "Time out. Are you trying to tell me that two Milwaukee police officers walked this kid back there?" So I took a break. I went and told. Well, I didn't talk to any bosses right away. I went and got on the phone to the 3rd District, and I said, "Did you have could you check back to July?" Because he was uncanny about dates of his
really?
victims. Uncanny, like most serial killers are. But they said, yeah, a squad got sent to check for a naked Asian male off 25th and State. I said, find out who those guys are. They told me, and I said, wake them up and tell them to get down here. Within half hour, they were there, and I told them, and they were both like just crestfallen.
Pretty much sent a man to
He
his
murdered.
death.
Well,
I know it's more
need more time to
complex than
talk
that.
about it, but
yes.
and these were good men. I mean, both of them I saw them put their life on the line. One guy was in a shootout with a guy who killed a cop. I mean, these were courageous young Christian males. I would think they would say, but in the situation that they got in, when they were surrounded by a people of color, the only other person that they really believed was the other white male. And kind of that's what I teach now in college. It's a thing called the police complex that anybody can get. And like I say, it's a lot longer to get into it, and I hate to leave it like this because these are two fine gentlemen. But did they make a mistake? Oh, hell yeah, they made a hell of a mistake.
You were fascinating, Pat.
You know what the odd thing is, though? If perhaps those officers in the car would have had the proper handcuff key, that would have gone away again.
He would have got away again because this guy did not want. He was embarrassing for him. He did not want to press charges.
So it's another case that might have just ended up with more dead people.
There's at least 6 or 7 pivotal times throughout his murderous career where authority figures had him and he was able to fool them. I'm talking about public psychologists, probation parole officers, judges, the building superintendent, and his own father.
Wow.
Who saw the bones of dead people and believed what Jeff told him, that they were the bones of a dog that he had found.
This is fascinating stuff.
I got to come back.
I am seeing
amazing. Your interview was so good. Thank you for coming too.
It's on,
wherever you are.
Demand?
But no, it's just it's hard to top the detective who talked to Dahmer. I mean, it's just the film was well done. I'll say that. It was excellent, and it kept me from the beginning to the end.
I'm always looking for great video on demand stuff, and this is
yeah.
I mean, I'm going
JeffTheMovie.com to get all the information you need, and just a genuine.
Can I make
pleasure.
a shameless plug?
Sure,
absolutely.
Because I worked with Chris, he's the one who told me you ought to write a book about what happened. So over the last year, I just completed a book that starts with the day I find the head in the refrigerator and ends the day I shake his hand.
Wow.
And kind of tells what happened to me personally. I mean, I ended up getting a divorce out of the deal.
Wow. It's called More Than a Head.
So I'm actually looking for a publisher, someone to take a look at it.
Yeah. Oh, man. Who wouldn't pick that up in a second?
Well,
it's fantastic.
You're unknown, and everybody's got a book, they say.
And you really believe you got divorced because of Jeffrey Dahmer?
Oh, no. I mean, divorce, that was a big thing. My wife was, the day it came, I didn't get home for like 24 hours, and when I got home, she was sitting. We were having problems anyway, but that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
So at the end of it, you say special thanks to Jeffrey Dahmer.
would you explain in detail to other people about this case? Or would you...
Oh, yeah, I've done it many times.
I mean, during the case.
Oh, no, we're under gag order. We're not allowed to talk
So
to
even
anybody.
your wife, you wouldn't be like, so the fucking head over here.
She didn't want to talk about it.
Oh,
she didn't want to talk
okay.
about with the kids.
Right.
She always were taking the kids out of the house for the 6 weeks. I was alone quite a bit. And,
oh, man.
You know, homicide detectives alone, just not a good thing.
You watch First 48?
No, I can't watch any of that crap.
Yeah?
I just can't.
I watch it, and it's like, why do these guys talk? You could tell that the cops are pissed off when they lawyer up. So do what pisses the cops off.
No matter how much lawyering up you do, Black Skull in the refrigerator does not get explained away.
Trump, all that shit every time.
We got to get them to go because they have television.
Thanks so much, man.
Thanks a lot for having us.
Love it.
Right on.
Thank you so much. Can we take a photo?
The Opie and Anthony show is pretty much over. This show will be a
Stupid fuck.
Sal.
Take a picture. What are you doing?
Sal's dumb.
He's just dumb, right, Sam?
I'm sorry, Hope. I thought you made the signal.
Now he's making excuses.
Did anyone see me make a signal?
No.
We have to get this plug in, is all.
Yes.
Sam is going to do the line of the day stuff. And line of the day is brought to you by Mask Sexual Flavors. It's the new way to foreplay, available in 4 tantalizing flavors. These oral gel strips will be the spark to light your bedroom flame. Visit sexualflavors.com to purchase or find a retailer near you. Sam will do the line of the day like I just said, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Is it okay if we start now, Sal?
Make them red.
Is it okay if we start now? I know Sal is like, he's in charge of
First
making
of all,
sure everything
turn my
times
mic up.
out. It's on. It's on.
Oh, all right.
Bobby Kelly is here, everybody.
I'm here, man. I'm here for the show.
The show.
The Bobby and Sam show.
Finally.
Bob Kelly has come back to the after show.
Finally. So is he the greatest? Is The Rock, even after all these years, and you think that something like that you grow out of, he's still the shit.
But you know what? All the guys in that era were the shit. If Stone Cold came back, everybody would be like, that dude is the shit.
I hope they fix his neck.
so he could come back and do something.
And just whoop that ass.
Whoop that ass. What?
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 Did your Sal
What?
get yelled at by Opie?
No, what, you get yelled at? Where is he?
He walked out.
Why did he get yelled at?
Because he decided to end the show. Like, Opie was saying goodbye to the guys who were here, the Dahmer detective.
Yeah.
Who was fucking amazing.
Right, he was. I heard he was great.
Just talking about having a conversation with, like, having a relationship with Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, this was not a news story to him. Like, he's the guy who found the black dude's head in a fridge. He didn't see it on a documentary. He saw the head.
I wonder what that looks like.
He made the face. That was funny. He said, and it was a fresh cut, and he looked like this.
He had his mouth open?
Yeah. And
like he was sucking dick?
I don't know if he
like
was...
he cut it off mid-blowjob?
Probably more like, I'm so surprised I'm about to get my head cut off than the blowjob thing.
So, but he had to make his mouth that way. You can't cut somebody's, kill them, and their mouth freezes that way. He had to, like, open the mouth.
You think Dahmer opened the mouth up to get the blowjob?
Yeah, he's probably had it in his bed for a couple days, talking to it. Hey, what's up, man?
Making the mouth move and everything.
Why'd you do that? Why'd you kill me?
He was doing a racist black accent.
He's doing Django.
Why you do that to me, Jeff? What your problem, dog?
I like chocolate. We could have went to your chocolate factory and had chocolate and been friends. Suck each other's dick. Suck each other's dick every once in a while. You had to cut my head off and shit.
Dahmer making head puppets in bed.
Then he shut up. I'm going to put you in the freezer.
I'm going to put you in the freezer. No! Don't put me back in the freezer, Jeffrey.
Then he shut the door. No! And that's how his mouth got frozen open.
And then Dahmer just chuckles to himself after. Good one. I'm going to see what's on TV. But no, so Opie's saying goodbye to those guys.
Yeah.
And Sal is just like, show's over. Opie's got to sneak in a plug.
Yeah.
And Sal's just like, wrap it up, guys. He's like, turn the mics blue again.
This is what I don't trust any white guy who parts his hair to the side. That's my rule.
That's Sal.
Yeah, you part your hair to the side in 2013, you kill hookers.
Do you?
You rape people.
When Robin,
what's up, man?
When Robert Kelly and myself, Who Kid just walked in.
What's up?
What's up, kid?
By the way, I'm glad Who Kid's here because
yeah,
this is a reunion from the Patty Stanger show.
I kept my sticker on for Who Kid underneath my brand new hat. And my new Red Sox hat, I kept one sticker on for Who Kid. Check it out, son.
Ooh, that's hood right there. I like that.
I got to tell you that, we always
Black
talk
History
about
Month.
how, not yet, not till tomorrow, Who Kid. You
shit.
do not get this day.
I'm sorry.
But I always talk about how management never, he doesn't get today. Today's still ours.
You know what? Today is ours.
Today is ours,
Until
Bobby.
12 o'clock tonight, this is our day.
But
let's go eat corn.
You damn white people.
Let's go have some mayonnaise
Don't
sandwiches.
talk to us like that, Who Kid.
Sorry.
How dare you?
Master.
Take that bass out of your voice.
All right, what do you think Dahmer would do with Who Kid?
Oh, he would love Who Kid.
Oh my God, I guarantee he wouldn't kill him. He would have kept him.
What was
Well,
this?
you know how Jeffrey Dahmer, like I guess
Oh,
I saw it on a
Dahmer.
movie.
Yeah.
Jeffrey
He
Dahmer.
would've-
We had the detective who did his case in. I saw a movie, and it said, and the detective would probably know better than me,
Right.
but it said that he was trying to make sex zombies.
What?
And so he would drill their heads in with an electric drill.
Right.
And at first he didn't want to kill them. He just wanted to make them his zombies so they would never leave.
Yeah, and they wouldn't scream, and
Right.
he could just sit there and he could suck them off.
But he didn't realize that he killed. So every time he killed them, then he would behead them and do the head puppet thing
Right.
that we discussed.
Yeah.
Who Kid would be
Who
like,
Kid, yeah.
He'll definitely eat my dick though. I tell you that.
You think so? Would it take him a while?
I got a big dick.
You
man.
do?
It's like a week meal. You know what I'm
Kielbasa.
saying? Meal for a week. You know what I'm saying?
It's a German meal. You think-
But yeah,
but I
so-
want to know, did he eat the dicks?
Oh,
Or
yeah, he did.
So he ate the dicks.
He loved
Yeah.
those dicks. There's a lot of meat in it, especially in Who
He
Kid's
ate
dick.
dicks, ass. He ate. I think he
You
had a
can't eat
lot
an
of,
ass.
How could you eat an
He
ass?
ate the cheek or not the asshole, like a fucking calamari?
I think.
Yeah.
No, he did say he had a lot of black ass in his.
He ate it like an onion ring.
Ugh. Yeah, he would love Who Kid.
But that's what I was getting at with Sal. He was
know.
in here and he just cuts the show off. As Opie says, all right, that was great, guys.
Yeah, it did.
Opie and Anthony. And Opie is just yelling. I think he turned the mics back on because Opie is just like, fuck you, stupid Sal, you idiot. Why would you? Because he is a stupid kid is the problem. So
Sal's stupid. He looks very intelligent.
he doesn't have his shit together.
He
fooled
looks.
us
He
all.
dresses and he cleans himself up. Like
know what?
an intelligent guy.
Sal's a cool guy, man.
Yeah, but you know what? The cops had many interactions with Jeffrey Dahmer, and they weren't sitting there going, this is a guy who plays head puppet in
So
bed.
you're saying that Sal gets young black men and brings them home, sucks them off, and then drills their head to try to make sex zombies.
I'm saying it's absolutely
Wow.
a possibility.
Right.
It's absolutely a
He
possibility.
was hugging me the other day, and he had a barbecue sauce in his hand. I don't know.
He was trying to lure you into a closet with barbecue sauce.
He had like a bottle of barbecue sauce.
He was trying to season you.
You think so?
I think so. If he ever invites you to his place, do not go.
I don't know if he's gonna like these nigga ribs, man.
You know
Spicy.
the cops are not going to come and save you. If Who Kid's running out of Sal's apartment in his tighty whities with handcuffs on, it's Who Kid's
He
word
wouldn't run out,
versus
though.
Sal.
He'd stroll out with a 40 and a joint.
Limping.
Yo, this guy's trying to eat my dick, man. Yo, this motherfucker, I just knocked him the fuck out. He tried to drill in my head.
Right.
And then he tried to eat my dick.
And whose word are the cops going to take? Sal's or Who Kid's?
Sal's. Come on, man.
I'm going to take Sal's.